married a baby. I
Like
married
20,
18. at
21.
18.
Oh, you were almost an old maid, huh?
Yeah.
Come on, Elaine.
I graduated from high school and got married 3 weeks before I graduated.
Uh-huh.
So-
Listen, I want y'all to, one thing I'd like y'all to kind of be thinking about, the town of Basile is so grateful to have people like you to share what it was like growing up. We're very interested in the stories because y'all have some really good ones to tell. I'm gonna start with, I'll point to you and Mr. Calvin, I'll tell you when it's your turn. I'd like you to introduce yourself and say a little bit about your life, you know, your occupation, whatever you think would be interesting, and then we'll start the questions. Okay? I'm going to start with you. Can you introduce yourself and your occupation? Just a few facts about yourself, Mr. Nesby. You.
Me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm Nesby Bergeron. I came out of the service in 46. I farmed 1 year, and I got rich from it that 1 year, so I came and worked for Mars Contractor in Basile. But they had over 200 employees,
Really?
and I worked for them until they closed the gates,
Thank you.
and I was happy.
It was a good place to, okay. Mr. Calvin?
I'm Calvin Perrodin, retired school teacher, retired foreman, retired this and retired that. Been in Basile all my life.
Good, we're happy to have you.
Thank you, ma'am.
I'm Nellie Aguillard Myers, and I'm from Basile. I went to school here, graduated in 1942. I'm a housewife now. I worked till 1979, I believe, and raised 4 children. My late husband and I, he passed away in 1975, and I married O.J. in 1978. You don't hear me? Good hear me. You want me to start over?
Okay, thank you, Miss Nellie. Miss O.J.?
I'm O.J. Myers, was born and raised here in Basile in 1924. I went to school here. I worked here most of my life with the exception of 2 years. The rest is right here in Basile.
Good, thank you. Mr. Lionel?
Oh, Lionel LeJeune. I was born and raised here in Basile in 1922. And I had a real good life. And at that time I knew everybody in Basile and what everybody else was doing. So I had a great, great time with a lot of great people. I enjoyed every minute of it. And I'm still enjoying it. And I will as long as I live.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to just throw out the type of games and stuff y'all play to small children in a town like this. Y'all can each say something y'all really enjoy doing, if that's the way y'all would want to do it. What did y'all do?
What I'd love to do is to start from the beginning and talk to the end.
Okay, you want to just do it all in one?
Yeah.
Okay, well, let me start with Mr. Nesby, and then you'll be next, Calvin. Mr. Nesby, would you kind of like to tell, as you were a child, what kind of games y'all played, what your schooling was like, things you think would be interesting?
We played baseball. We used to walk about 10 miles to go play baseball in Cut-Off, Louisiana. Every Saturday we walked at least 10 miles to go play baseball.
Okay, and what were the schools like when you were little?
Oh, I had to work for a living.
You didn't get
I
to
had
go
to
to
work.
school.
That's why I had to quit school to go to work. That's how everything was so bad.
Okay, what about music and stuff? What kind of music did y'all like?
Oh, I love that French music.
Ah.
That's the best music for me.
You were always a French, when you
Yes.
always spoke French, Mr.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what about what kind of clothes did y'all wear, like if y'all went on a date or at school or something, or
I had
jeans?
short pants to wear.
Ah.
That's it.
And when you went on a date, what
No, we
kind?
didn't go. When I went to the date was when I was in the army.
Oh, so Were there some rules even in the Army? Did you have to meet all the parents?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Do you have anything to say about the clubs and stuff in Basile? Did you go?
Oh, I love the town of Basile. Everybody's nice to me.
Good. You always appreciated that,
Yes.
huh? You remember some of the grocery stores or the
Oh
stores?
Lord, I can name all of them. They had Cajun. Leatrice had a store by the lumberyard on the other end. Mr. Adam Brunier, that was his store here. And Mr. Leon Seabar was on the other corner. Then they had Point Chambeau on the other corner there. And Mr. Big Andrews had where the old bank was.
Really? That
Yeah.
many stores?
Yeah. Then they had a baker shop in Basile. They had a big furniture in Basile. Mr. Hester had a big furniture store in Basile. And they had an ice cream parlor in Basile. All where John Langley had his place there. That's all I can remember.
Well, y'all had plenty of places to go if you needed to buy something.
Oh yeah, they had a bunch of stores.
What about, were there any movie theaters when you were?
They had two theaters in town. They had the Prince and I forgot the other one. They had one across by what the bank is and one on the highway.
Well, I was wondering with the other one.
Uh,
Okay. Do you remember the first mayor that you were old enough to remember as mayor?
Mr. David Young.
David John.
Yeah.
Okay. And when you were young, like in your early 20s, were there any kind of was there any thing, very significant thing that happened in Basile? A storm, anything, derailment? I know the train was an important thing. Did anything happen that was kind of a catastrophe or a good thing to Basile?
Yeah, that was when the night watchman, Mr. Alec Couey, got killed by the train station there. I don't remember which day of the week it was, but
And they never found out?
no.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah.
What kind of, y'all, I know y'all must not have all had cars, or maybe y'all did, but before there were telephone, did y'all have a telephone, TV, anything?
No. There had no telephone and no TV. There had one telephone exchange was it was Miss Johnson. I forgot her first name.
Dorothy Johnson.
Huh?
Okay.
Yeah.
And is there someone that you remember you think made a great contribution to Basile? You know, he was an older person than you, maybe, you know, that...
No,
that
not
you-
I know of.
Can't think of anybody right now. Well, Mr. Nesby, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, I'm gonna go to you, Mr. Calvin, and you can start when you were a child and some of the things you'd like to share, the businesses or any, whatever you'd like to share with us.
Okay. We always did look for the future, and to go down back into time, it taught a lot of thinking. And I can remember the first day I went to school in Basile. It wasn't at the school building. It was at a house, old lady Richard's house. We were divided. Apparently, we were too many, so we were divided in half. Some went to this lady's house for school. The other half went to the old, let's see, well, anyhow, it was down the other end of town, homemade building.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So the first day, I remember my mother always starched me up to where I could hardly walk. I had so much starch in my clothes. And powder, I had to really powder myself. See, I looked like a ghost, when I went to school. But I went and was happy and enjoyed my friends that were there. A lot of them have passed away. And so then, as we went through the years, let's just say to the days, we did a lot of marble shooting. I always wanted to have the last lag. I wanted to shoot last to get a better chance at a good shot. Well, we played and lost a lot of marbles and gained a lot of them, so we had a nice time till later on in our life. We had catechism we had to go to. Had the church right next door. I was an altar boy for 11 years.
The church was an important part of the community, Mr. Calvin.
Yes, ma'am. That's the first part of the, and also, and then as we went on, we played balls. I was on the softball team, had shortstop, and also on third base. I played. I was on the boxing team. I was in music. I played a clarinet for all through my school years.
You were well-rounded. You had a well-rounded education. You were in a little bit of everything.
Yes, I was in the Tri-Parish Fair Band. I was selected to play in the band, along with the other students that were marching.
Was that they would choose different students from different schools to be in that?
Yes.
So that was quite an honor.
Called the Tri-Parish.
Well,
And those three parishes got together, and everybody brought something from school, either something agriculture or something that other people could view, and we so then in the further played boxing. I boxed a little bit in elementary, none in high school. We didn't have, I don't think we had any in high school. We had some grown fellows in there, but I was a lightweight. And I remember the time we went to Rain to box. I was so glad my opponent forfeited the bout, so I didn't have to fight. Next time I had a fight, we was with some of our classmates. One fellow I was boxing with, once we went to shake our hands to start off, first thing I knew, he was all over me. I thought it was an octopus with all these gloves on him, it was on his tendons. It was really fighting me. And I was glad when they threw the towel in, anyhow.
It was a long...
But some of the experiences we had. In the band, we had a group of fellows that played together. Howard Reed, Bert Brunet, Brian Perrodin, Duro Duperchin, Harry Andrus, and myself, naturally, and I think we were 5 or 6 of us, anyhow. We had a nice little band that we played. Our main song, I think, was, let's see, we had 2 or 3 of them, but the main one was Dogtown Strutter's Ball. Oh, Lord, we tore into that.
Well, this was like an entertainment band, not a school band?
Yeah, it was an entertainment band among the schools. It's all and kids in school.
Mr. Calvin, was there any significant event that happened in Basile, as you know, a high school student or an elementary student, a bad storm, something good, or maybe it was just a regular?
Well, I did remember one incident of a shooting. Cleese Chambers, who was the chief at that time, shot a fellow. I don't remember what his name was, but apparently he was a bad guy. And there was one incident, another incident of the church burning. Created a lot of static there by the church being burnt to the ground, and we all felt sorry for that.
Where did y'all go to church when that happened? What did y'all use as a church after that?
You know, after that we had church in the old building where the co-op is there, was in Basile.
Okay.
We went there a while.
Well, okay, and Is there someone that you remember as being a great influence on you as a child, maybe an educator or the mayor, or was there anybody that kind of stood out that you had a lot of respect for? Or, you know, I know kids at that time, you don't think much of that, but that you can think of?
Well, I had one fellow that I really enjoyed being around and taught me a lot of things. It was Joe Hodges. Joe Hodges was instrumental in horses, and I love horses, and he let me ride them. Those that he bought that was pretty wild, he would saddle his horse and get on it, and the other one, I'd be on the other one, and he'd hold me real close to his horse and to himself, so it wouldn't buck too much. But I enjoyed being with him. Taught me how to fish and hunt, and we went around quite a bit. As a youngster, I was like under his wing.
Well, that, you see, I never heard about Mr. Hodges that way. Thank you so much, Mr. Calvin. You've shed a lot of things we were not aware of.
That's
Mr.
right.
Lionel, are you ready?
Oh, yes, and whenever you are.
Okay, tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Okay, I'm Lionel LeJeune, born in 1922 in Basile here. And natural until now, I'm very happy and very happy with the people. And we had great teachers in those days. You would not, it's more like our type of education, I guess you would call. And it was somebody that was great. And you knew there was they had good minds about what you was learning and what you was taught. So I went up to the 4th grade, and I graduated instead of graduated. But I enjoyed every minute, and I'm a self-taught education. I learned about everything in this world. And here comes. Should I talk about the war?
If you'd like to share something.
Okay, here comes the war, and I was 19 years old. I guess I was a little young to go in. But when they told me that somebody from overseas, the enemies, was coming over and taking our world, and we could not do what we wanted to, we had to learn their language and say whatever they said and whatever they wanted to. So that really got into my mind, and I said the only way that I can do is go there and fight for our country, to keep it like it is today. And that's what I wanted, and that's what I appreciate. And I appreciate when the people knows that this is what I have done. It's for us over here. One guy asked me one time, said, "What are you fighting for?" I said, "A little town they call Basile." I said, "You wouldn't want it anyway, they'd give it to you." So, but anyway, that was a lot of my fight when I was young. But you don't realize until you're 19 years old what's going on, how much you miss your people and your country, and celebration days, everything that goes with it. It's something great. You're going to have to be with.
Yes. Whenever you came back, do you remember some of the businesses that were still
Yes,
there?
ma'am, there was quite a bit of business. Mr. Perrodin, like he was said, talking about a telephone. They had Mr. Stagg had a telephone. And I remember going to see that lady. When it would ring, she'd plug it in and she'd ring somebody else. And you could hear what everybody else was saying.
Oh, that was nice.
I don't know about that.
There was no secrets.
But it was nice to have that, you know. So that's one of the great things that we had in Basile beside our school. And our church, and I was there when the church burned down. And the water system was not strong enough to break the glasses on the church. It was pretty hard. Some people took bricks and rocks and they threw it out to try to get the water on the flame to put the church fire out.
Was the church in the same place that it is now?
Yes, ma'am, pretty much in the same place.
Okay.
And it was an old high wooden church.
Oh, do they know what started the fire?
No, ma'am, and I never did know either.
Okay. Now, Mr. Lionel, were you not one of the first people to have a television in Basile?
Yes, ma'am, I was.
I
sure
thought
was.
you were, and a colored, first one time maybe a colored television.
That's
too.
right. And the first one I got is there was a television and one wall, and the people could see what was going on the other wall. In fact, that far apart, and that's all. That's as far as television went out. But today you can reach into countries or anything else you want, and that kind of got me interested in electronics and television, and I did that over here for a little better than 26 years.
I thought that was your
Yes,
occupation.
ma'am.
Well, thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you think of anybody that maybe you feel like made a great contribution to you or to the town when you were young?
Well, I was young then, and I thought everything was a contribution to us, to the people that is here now today and during those years. And so I thought that was real great. Like the drugstores and clothing stores, furniture store, and everything else. I kept up to date because that's the only thing really that was going on.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh,
And
thank you.
so you've always enjoyed life, and you still plan to do it that way?
Yes,
huh?
ma'am, I'm gonna stay that way as long as I can go.
Okay, we're gonna move to you, Miss Nellie, our first woman.
Okay.
Oh, well, I'm not going to be that long, I don't believe. I started school in 1930, and I was born in 1923, December 26, 1923. And we lived in Tippertate at that time when I started school. And I rode a homemade bus. Mr. Baroni had it. He made it himself, the whole bus.
Really?
And yeah, it was okay. My teacher was Miss Perrodin, my first grade teacher. And we had a lot of good teachers year after year. I loved school very much. And we played a lot of games at school that I liked, and especially recess. Kids don't do that anymore, but at recess we had to stand at attention all in a row, and do exercises. That was every day. And I still need it, but I don't do it. But anyway. And my parents, I was raised with 6 brothers, me and 6 brothers.
Really?
And our parents influenced us a lot because of going to school and going to church. Our church, the Baptist church, was started in 1924. And we had many good pastors. The first few, we didn't have any money to pay them, so they paid them in potatoes and rice and stuff like that. The farmers did. Then later it just grew and grew. And that's where I raised my children. I married right after I graduated to Elaine Aguillard. He went in the war and fought during the war. He was D-Day. He was in that battle anyway. But God was good and sent him home. We raised 4 children and really enjoyed our life. We enjoyed Basile. And our home sits right now where the cotton gin was all years before.
Right, that's
The cotton
true.
gin was there. And we bought this property in 1965, I think it was, and made our home there.
Who owned the cotton gin? Who was the owner?
There
Do
were
you-
several owners.
My daddy.
I thought that your daddy
Mhm.
was Mr. Oh.
And the Bruni brothers later owned it too. There were several owners.
It was a big industry, cotton, at that time, huh? That was one of the major crops.
Yeah. But there were a lot of stores. This was a very unique little town.
Everyone says
I was
that.
also in the band. Like I see Malou over there, me and Calvin and Malou, we played the clarinet.
Mm.
And we were picked out because we were the best ones. We went to this, we'd go to this band, I forgot, they picked just a few to go to Mamu, and we'd practice like crazy. And then we went to Lafayette to play because we were so good.
That was something to go to Lafayette, huh, in this.
But Mrs. Cox was our music teacher, and she was great. We just loved her so much. And we had a glee club, and we sang in the glee club. But we had 2 organizations in our school, the Acatines and Malou. What was the Acatines and the Zephyrs? I was a Zephyr.
Now, how did y'all get chosen for y'all teams
Well, we decided which team we'd go
when
on.
you started high school?
And
It was a
it
competition.
was great. Yeah, we had fun. Well, we thought, well, I thought everybody had to be a Zephyr, and or the Acatine thought they had to be the Acatine. But that was really a lot of fun for us, and it wasn't boring. Kids nowadays have everything, but I think we had the best of it, and our children too. You know, so
And the school was, the
And the
church and the
school-
schools were a very major part of the town.
very much, very much. Yeah.
Can you share a little bit of the dating customs? Were there, or?
Well, we didn't date, I didn't date a whole lot because we didn't have cars and we had to date the neighborhood boy most of the time. I married the local boy. I married to get away from home, I guess.
That was often the case,
Yeah.
I think.
But that's okay. We were happy. And we had no phones, not even a radio. We didn't anyway. And we made our own games and stuff like that. And it was really fun. But I wouldn't trade for anything. And for being from this place, I'm sorry. We don't have grocery stores. We don't have a lot of stores that we had then. But
Visiting people, you would
yeah,
meet them at the
you
stores
get
and
to know
stuff,
people
huh?
because
Yeah.
you didn't have to be scared of going La Veille somewhere and they had their TV program on. You know, we could just barge in and visit with people.
A lot of people did that, that was what families did at night,
Yeah.
huh? Y'all would go to different houses and visit?
Yeah, and once a week we made homemade ice cream in my neighborhood, at least.
Well, that's
and all the neighbors would come that were invited. It was fun. But I know there's a lot more I can say, but I'm kind of forgetting, so.
But you've covered some things that are very
But,
interesting, and we enjoy it, you know.
I really enjoy my life. I'm in good health. I don't walk too good. I'm kind of not mobile, but anyway, and we enjoy our kids. And I will be a great-grandmother for the first time in September with twins.
Really?
Gary's boy has one child, and they married last year, and they're this first pregnancy, and they're having little twins. We don't know the sex until the 18th. I can't wait.
Congratulations, that is wonderful.
Oh man, I'm jumping up and down.
Well, thank you so much. Okay, Mr. OJ, and you were around the same time. Was there
Same
something
time,
different you'd
same
like to?
place.
Same station?
Same station.
Well,
I was born in 1924. I stayed here till 1930. I started school here in 1930. And we stayed here 6 weeks, and then my daddy took a job in the country with a farmer. Things were tight, and everything was so tight, there's no money. My daddy was working in over here by the railroad track. They had a planing mill when Mr. Buller hired him in the country. And we lived over there. I left school here, and there was a little red school building right there, about 75 yards from the house.
really?
I went there through the 5th grade.
Was it different classrooms or one?
Two classrooms,
Okay.
and transferred back here when they closed the little schoolhouse. They started busing us in town. And I remember things about the town. That's what you wanted to know?
Yes, I would like to know.
We lived right across. There was an old Standard Oil buck plant where Mars' yard is now. We lived right across the street. I remember them big tanks like it was yesterday. And Mr. Edward Aguillard had a 2-story building where the lumber yard is. You come a little further, there was a 2-story building there. I believe it was a Young that had the store, right on where the Janice's old garage used to be. And there was Mr. Adam Brunet's store. There was the Hesters had right there where John Russell has that building. the old bank.
Yes.
Sammy Stagg had the drugstore. North side, Darbone had that saloon on the corner.
Was that the Main Street? No.
On Main Street, right
Yeah,
there,
right here.
right next to the drugstore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. On the other side of the street, there was a store, big store. I don't remember what it was. It was shoes or furniture, what?
Savant, it was a mercantile kind of,
There was a little telephone office right there where Della Bellon store is, with a Savant store.
The theater was there at that time, the movie theater?
Yeah, a little bit more this way.
Yeah.
And that was, the theater came after that.
After that?
Oh, yes, after that. Then there was the,
Were there-
on the far, on the corner where you turn to go to Mamou, there was a big store there.
Back then we had that boarding house too by the school.
What kind of house, what was it, Mr. Nesby? Kind of, what did they have?
Miss Malou never had the boarding by the schoolhouse. And the teacher was living there.
They would live there?
One thing while I'm thinking, maybe some of the other guys can remember, is the train cheering. Loaded up a train orphans, I don't know from where, but we knew 2-3 months ago that it was coming through orphans here and leaving children that needed foster homes. So I don't know how many of the children went where and who they were. Of course, I was a little too young to remember, but I thought maybe some of the.
Do
the
y'all
other fellas-
remember that, the orphan train? I had heard about that before, but
Yeah.
but I didn't realize.
Yeah.
So, you don't know anybody from Basile that would have been from the orphan train?
They'd probably have to be older than I am. Of course, I'm only 88, but anyway.
Oh, that could
That's a
be.
lot of chances.
Well, Mr. OJ, did you like school?
Oh, yes.
It was a main
Oh, yeah.
thing for you too, huh?
I love to play ball.
Irene said he was bad though.
Oh.
He was bad,
No,
oh.
no,
Irene said.
no.
I don't believe that.
Mr. OJ, do you have brothers and sisters?
I had one sister.
Okay, I didn't know.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
We started playing. Five of us started playing basketball in the 7th grade. We went through all the way through. And in 41, we made the first team. 41 and 42. There was nothing in the we didn't stop at nothing.
Y'all were very lucky. Some of you in here had to stop stop school to go to work. And the others, y'all were fortunate enough to do all the things that schools had to offer. And what y'all did, y'all still care, the town was a great thing to y'all either way, whether
Yes.
you're working or in
Sure.
school.
Yeah.
Well, that is so. Is there anything else, a person you were impressed with, or something that happened in town that really?
There's so many things. I had a list like 3 pages long and I forgot what they are.
That's about right.
They're all glad you forgot.
I haven't heard yet. I haven't
heard
heard
that
yet that
before.
one of you fellas got whipped at school.
Oh.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that was discipline at school, was whipping?
Oh, you better believe it.
Did Mr. Calvin, did you ever get?
Listen, my Uncle Leroy was principal at one time, and I used to go down those steps at school, trying to make in one step. Jump and then, and run my toes, my feet over each step. And by that time I got to the bottom, there was Uncle Leroy. He was there waiting for me.
Oh.
He was mean.
He says, in the office, sir. So I got saying, well, my uncle, he won't hit me hard, it won't be bad on me. But when I got in that office, he poured it to me. And that afternoon, he went home, told my daddy, and that was another whipping I got. I was well whipped.
You were almost a cripple by the time the day was finished.
That's right.
Oh, anybody else remember Mr. O.J.? I'm sure you didn't do anything that deserved a whipping.
Oh, yeah. Not me.
He was a good boy, huh?
Oh, I remember one time Howard Reed, myself, Bert Brunet, and Mayon's Ryder on a Halloween night. We passed all the east part of town. In them days, they had WPA. They had built little bridges across your ditch to get to your house. They had built some outhouses. We turned every little bridge over on the people's
So it
property.
was you, huh? Okay, I'd like to make a report on that.
We turned every outhouse that we could, turn it on the backside. Then we went home. The
Yes,
next
Mom.
morning, the little girl came to my room. I was in the 8th grade. Came into my room. She said, "Mister, that's all I want to see in his office."
My outdoor privy, we had one. It was a 2-holer. It was up in the garden with around an orchard of oranges we had. And people will go over the fence to get the oranges, and so we had to be careful whenever we'd use the privy, outdoor privy. Yeah. So those were the days. I'm sure everybody can elaborate on a lot of the things they did. I don't want to take anybody's place in talking.
Oh, but this is
Because
so
I could add to it that there might be.
We're gonna have to get together on another day and get y'all really talking when we won't be time. Mr. O.J., so you got a good spanking that day?
Oh, no.
Oh.
When I got to the office, the other 3 boys were leaning against the wall as you went in his office. He says, "Well, boys," he said, "I heard y'all were wild last night." We didn't open them up. Said, so there was some people bad here in town. They turned some outhouses over and some little bridges. We never did admit that we had done that. She had to let us go. He had to let us go. It was free.
Well,
That's just one.
that's just one story, yes. I'm so sorry that we have to stop because we have some
Yeah.
other people, but y'all have some wonderful stories, and maybe we'll get y'all together when we can just
Yeah.
sit and talk. And
I have another
Don't say in another 100 years.
no,
I won't be here.
But thank you so much, and we're gonna just stop
It was
and
very
let
much
some.
fun.
Thank
I
y'all
dreaded
so
it,
much.
now I'm glad
I knew it would be good, and I
Oh,
knew we would
yes.
probably not have time.
Yeah.
So we're gonna switch over. All right, who would like to begin?
Don't mind.
Okay, I'm gonna let Miss Irene, because you were raised more or less in the country of Basile. Introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Irene Johnson Fruge. I lived in the country all my life.
Most everybody was very poor at that time. It was the Depression.
Very
and-
poor, and we were farmers. So I worked a lot in the field, but I came. I went to the 3rd grade in manual school. That was by the LeJeunes. They had a little school, and Mr. W.J. Fruge was one of the teachers, and Miss Bertrand. Mrs. Bertrand, that was a school teacher.
Were y'all in like one room, Miss?
We had 2 rooms.
2 rooms.
They had the 4th and 5th in one room, and the 1st and 3rd was in the other room.
Y'all had to bring y'all's own lunches and stuff, Miss
Oh yes,
Irene?
oh yes. We had to bring our own lunch, and we walked there. And I was about 5 miles, I guess, from school.
So how long would it take y'all to get to school?
Well, we usually left about an hour and a half before school started.
And your food must not have been too good by the time y'all ate it.
Good enough, we ate it.
And how did y'all bring y'all's food?
At first it was in those syrup gallons, but then they came out with a lunch bucket. And I wanted one. We had a little country store by my house. That's where we buy our groceries. And she had some, but they were 25 cents. That was a lot of money in those days. So my mama told me, she said, when we have some extra eggs, she said, I'll give you some and you can get your little basket. So one day she said, well, you can go get your basket. It was a late afternoon. I was so happy. I would run, instead of walking on the road, I went through the field and I jumped from one road to the other. Don't you think I fell and broke all my eggs? I cried and I cried. I went home and I told her that. Well, she said, I'm sorry, you're going to have to wait another 2 or 3 weeks until we have some extra eggs. So it went about 2 weeks. She said, well, you can go get your lunch bucket, but be sure you walk on the road, not in the field. So I did.
You had learned your lesson.
I learned it the hard way.
And do you have anything to share? I know you worked real hard, and I know you always did. Then you went to school. You came to school in Basile.
I went in the 4th grade. Mr. Bergeron had a wooden bus, so he'd pick us up and bring us to Valentine. I went 1 year at that. Then when I turned in the 5th grade, Mr. Langley had a bus and he passed right by my house. So I started coming to Basile, and I graduated here in Basile.
And you have any dating tips to share with us? So you married right after?
Oh no. It was I graduated in 43. I didn't get married until 46.
How did y'all dress in high school or?
A dress, please.
A dress.
One time, Mr. Leroy Swallow let us wear some pants. It was frozen. It stayed frozen, I guess, for weeks. One day he said, you can wear overalls tomorrow.
Because it was very cold.
I went home and I told that to my daddy, so my daddy went to town and got me one. One day I wore it. That's it. After that, we had to go back to the dresses.
When you finished high school, did you get a job somewhere, or do you work at home?
No,
or
I helped them in the field.
in the fields?
Yeah, oh yes.
Is there anybody you felt like made a big impact on Basile? I know y'all were saying Mr. Leroy Swallow was the principal.
Mm-hmm.
And is there anybody else you think that we're very lucky to have, or?
We had a homemade teacher, Miss Muller, and we loved her to death.
She was good.
She was very, very good. And then Mr. Bollick and them adopted Butch while we were in the homemade. So when Miss Dot had to go to town, we babysit.
Oh, in school.
Yeah, they let us go to babysitting.
So y'all would learn some home ec stuff that way. What about you? You said something about a rainstorm in the cotton.
Yeah, 2 or 3 years following, when it came time to pick the cotton in August, we started having rain, and it would rain for weeks. We'd lose most of our cotton. The water would go over the rows. It was bad.
It was a hard time.
Oh yes, very.
Okay, Miss Leatrice, thank you so much.
Where?
I was a city girl.
Oh, okay.
I was from Basile. I lived in town, on the street, right across from the cotton gin. I was 5 years old when we came from Eunice, and my grandmother had come before us, and they built us a home next to her. And so that's where I grew up, and went to school in Basile.
What kind of games did the girls play as y'all were, the boys marbles and ball and
Well,
stuff?
the girls would play marbles too.
When I wasn't in school, we played paper dolls, stuff like that. We get them out of the Sears catalog. So we didn't have access to going to big cities to get some. So we'd cut them out of the Sears catalog. Also, the Sears catalog was used for the privies. So while you're sitting there, you could also move over and, flip the pages and find out what you wanted to cut out.
Well, that's
Oh, yeah, it was good.
And school was an important thing to all of y'all,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sure.
Yes. Well, I wasn't even a block away from school, and so I'd just walk over, and on Saturday afternoon, on the weekend, they'd let us ride in the gym on bicycles. I didn't have one, but Chester had one. And so, we were a lot of kids, and this is all we had, and for entertainment. And then every now and then, we'd have a hit movie that would come, not far from the house. So we'd go to the movies like that before the Stockwell built a theater. So we,
And y'all did
things-
some beignets with...
Oh, yeah. Also, we did, during the time of cotton, my mom and I had a lot of company because they'd come in from the country on wagons and stuff, and they wouldn't come in, they wouldn't go home till around 2:30 in the morning before they would take them. There were so many of them going. And so we had a lot of company. Mama always had coffee, and they enjoyed coming for coffee.
So it was wagons and things.
Wagon,
mostly in those
right,
days, huh?
right. And then in the summertime, what would happen was, it was empty, so we'd play tomball.
What is
Kids
that?
It's a rubber ball with a bat. And
Oh.
the kids would gather around in the evening late, and that's what we did.
Well, that's
Oh, yeah.
And your dresses and stuff, y'all said y'all had to wear dresses. Was there
Yeah.
like a certain...
Well, my grandmother made all my clothes. And whatever was in style, she took pleasure in sewing. And we'd buy the material at Mr. Brunet's. And she'd take me to Mr. Brunet's and get me the material in whatever color I wanted. And that's what we wore. But she was a good seamstress, so
You were very lucky.
I was very fortunate. And but I was spoiled too, with my grandmother living next door, and it was fun. It was fun.
Family was a very important thing in y'all's days.
Yeah, my brother worked at the drugstore. Charlie worked at the drugstore from the time he was about 10 years old. And that's mine. But this is what, this is how our family went, because my dad would live in Texas, and he didn't,
He wasn't there
he
most of the
wasn't
time.
there, so my grandmother and them took care of all that. And my mother would work. My mother worked after a while, she worked at the lunch kitchen. And when the Methodist church was, when I was small, I used to clean it 50 cents.
Really?
I used to go, and on Saturday morning after I'd go to church, to school, on Saturdays my mother would work for Miss Frank Reed. And so she was in charge of that, so on 50 cents I'd sweep and wipe the benches. And I did that for years.
I think everybody worked real hard in y'all's days.
Well, yeah, you had to if you wanted some spending money, So you couldn't depend on my mother because she worked out. And then after a while she got a job and went to school, and she was in the kitchen. But other than that, in the evenings also, when after the movies were in, we had a section of Basile that was called the Walk Shape. And that was from behind where Lionel used to live.
Yeah.
All right, there was a gully running there.
Right.
And past the gully, that was known as the Walk Shape. And I had friends, we all had friends in there, so they would come in the afternoon and late, and they'd pick me up, and we'd go to a bunch of us, Irene Corville and all of them. We'd go to the movies, but that was later on, much later on.
What did it cost to get in the movies?
Well, it started at 10 cents, so,
Nice. I worked at the theater. You could come with a quarter,
yeah.
get a bag of popcorn, and a pops, and have a penny left over for you.
Well, I didn't remember it was 9, I thought it was 10.
You know what? You had to pay taxes after 9.
Yeah, okay. Didn't know that. Too small. Too young.
What year did you start school?
I started in, let's see, the year that you started,
I don't remember.
I'm 84, so I started at 5.
Okay.
And Quincy Davis lived in the house where Butch and them used to live, and the Toops. And then it was Eldon Brunet, who was, and he was a principal also. So it was, you know.
There were 3 houses on those corners that were built just the same.
Yeah.
They had the same architect, the same person.
Right.
Okay. Okay, who's the next in age, with the 2 men?
I'm young.
You're the young one. Okay.
I guess I'm the old one.
Mr. Nookie, tell us a little bit about your life. Introduce yourself.
I'm Windsor Stockwell. I've been here in Basile, in the country, all my life. My grandfather came to Basile in 1903 and was a farmer out north of town. And I started school at 5. And when I started school, I think I was the only English-speaking one in the bunch.
Really?
Everybody else would speak French. And one of my best friends, Shelby Langley, he couldn't speak English, and I couldn't speak French.
I was wondering, you just didn't know French. You were a Stockwell.
No, I didn't know French, but I had to learn it because they'd talk about me if I didn't learn it.
They'd punish us if we spoke French.
And my grandfather had 2 men working on the farm. One of them didn't speak English, and I'd work right along with him, and he's the one that really taught me how to speak French like I do. And when we started school, she said she had to walk to school. We did too. We had to walk about a mile because the road was too bad where we lived for a bus. And the following year, Hammy Vigina built a small bus to take care of that route out north of town. And it was a dusty bus because it was a homemade bus and dirt roads. And when it would rain, we'd bog down. We had to get out and push. And sometimes we wouldn't push because we wanted to be late for school.
So, y'all haven't changed much in that aspect of boys. Were you kind of a bad boy too?
Oh no.
He was good.
I only fought one time on the bus.
Oh.
And it wasn't bad.
Y'all must have been not too clean when y'all got to school a lot of times.
All the time we'd have to take our shoes off and walk in the mud so we wouldn't get our shoes in. And we'd have to, sometimes there's a mud hole there, a little water would wash our feet and put our shoes on.
Uh-huh.
And the bus driver got wise to us not pushing. So one morning he came down and on his front bumper he had a big rope. And we had to pull in front.
So he saw.
He could see what we were doing.
Uh-huh. Who was with you on that bus that was pushing or pulling? Do you remember?
Oh yes. When we'd walk that mile, there was about 8 of us that would congregate at the corner and all walk together. And Joe Doge that used to be here in Basile, he was one of them. And Jackson Manuel, we called him Tutu.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had, she was a cousin of mine, Adele Downs, and Lavinia Fruge, Nookie Delphin's daughter.
Nookie?
Yeah. And Joe Doge and his sister Elizabeth. We'd all be walking down the road. But that one year we had to do that until we got that other bus that would
carry y'all all the way
carry us over there. And then when we would go around behind my house, Albert Langley, who used to have a junkyard in Eunice, he would come from across the bayou on horseback to his uncle's house and then get on the bus and come to here, because he come to school here in Basile.
Now, he was bad.
Now, you said that, I did.
Did y'all have vehicles? Did y'all's
No.
parents?
No,
No.
My grandpa had,
my grandmother had a car, 'cause my grandfather worked for us on the railroad.
Yeah.
And we had to go get him every 15 days.
we had a sedan car, and it was a 28 Chevrolet. And when it was muddy, we couldn't go in the car. We'd have to go in the wagon. They'd bring us to town in the wagon. And when we one day, it was a real bad road, and there was a man come there, and he had a suit, tie, and everything, and he got bogged down. And he went to my grandmother and asked her if had anybody to pull him out. We didn't have no tractor then, it was all mules. And she said, there's only one thing that I hope, that some of these highway people see this road and get bogged down and see what we go through. He put his head down and he said, I'm one of them.
Oh.
So, it wasn't long after that, OJ, I think, mentioned WPA, with the Working People of America. It wasn't long they came, and they built our road by hand, built it up, dug the ditches and everything, and it wasn't too long we got it gravel. So, and then whenever we were going to school, my grandpa was, well, let me start with my mother. My mother was from North Louisiana. She used to be a telephone operator here. And her and Daddy separated when I was 6 years old. And then Grandma and Grandpa took Russell and I and raised us. And I stayed 1 year with Mama. She was then working for Dr. Freeman, Otto Freeman, the doctor that was here.
Was he our first doctor, pretty much?
I think he was, yeah.
Yeah, he was.
And he lived right there where the old post office is. That's abandoned now.
Right.
That's where his office was. And across the street, it wasn't a hotel, it was a dance hall. And every weekend, I was just sitting on the front porch watching the shenanigans go on at the dance hall. And then my grandmother told Mama, she said, that ain't a place for that boy to be raised. She said, we're going to bring him to the country. So they had taken Russell out there, my brother, and they had split us up. Then they got us back together in the country. Then we had to go to work. And my grandpa had milk cows. We were milking 15 cows every morning and night. And we had to milk those cows before school and after school. And he would sell milk and butter to half of the town over here. And that was our dairy. And we'd done that for quite a few years. And then we enjoyed going to school over here. And I played ball, I was a fair ball player. And my brother, he was a little bit older than me. And in our high school years, where he joined during World War II, he joined Marines, and I was too young, so I stayed at home. But then later on, I went into service and went to Korea. So I served my time in Korea. This was after the Korea conflict. And then I dated a few girls at school, but I was late in dating, and I see her laughing over there. I've known her since she was 3 years old. And then when she finally got grown, I married her. Yeah?
Needless to say, none of y'all were ever bored as children, huh?
No.
Y'all were busy. I
Oh.
bet there was no overweight people in the day, huh? Because everybody worked so hard.
Everybody worked.
And everybody knew everybody.
And y'all slept well at night because y'all didn't get to sleep
One thing
long.
I do want to tell you, you know, we didn't have sewage system at the time. And when I was growing up, I was young, and at night we'd have to raise the windows in the summertime. And we couldn't sleep because it would smell so bad. Until we got the sewage system, then we could close them down. And we didn't have, we had a radio at home. My brother had bought a radio. But other than that, you know, we listened to music, and then you go to bed. Do your homework.
Was there like, not soap operas, but stories on the radio?
No, they didn't have any of that.
They have that kind
Oh,
of thing.
no.
So, but it was a wonderful time to live, I think. I know
It
it was
was.
hard.
Oh, it
I
was.
belong to
It
the
was.
Methodist church over here, which is now closed. But the Methodist church was the first church in Basile.